It is said the only thing that is constant is change. Even if you flip the page, the story remains the same. No one is to blame for the constant change. One can only hope that in the heart, the love for another to never fade. Hello everyone, Nero here. I've been thinking about family and how important it is and the value of family, so we're going to try to get into that for a bit. I hope everyone is well and having a good week. Hope you find the inner strength to get through the day, get through the week, and you just stay in a positive mindset. And so as we get into it, right, I think it should be highlighted that family plays an integral part of who you become and just the type of person you grow into. In the previous episode, I was talking about how I would like to build a community and how I think in that community people can form bonds with individuals that they really did not expect to form bonds with and relations with. And let's just begin here, right? Like, how can we define family? What is a family? And family really can be defined as simply as a group of one, parents and children living as a unit, right? And when you look into it, it is designed to be suitable for children as well as adults, mainly because through our evolution as a species, we realized you are not an island, right? And the most important, smallest unit in a community is a family. Now, family is important. We can all agree on that. But the role that family as an entity plays, and we can be speaking about how it shapes us as individuals, our character, our view of the world, and how we engage with the world, right? How we choose to engage with the world. And we will develop characteristics, but they are in some way connected to this one entity. School does play a role at a later stage, and a very huge part, because keep in mind, the educational system is the one that teaches you letters, numbers, symbols, how to write, how to read. Basically, school teaches you how to be literate, but then from there, the next step is to teach you what I want you to learn, right? Now I teach you how to comprehend. From all this, I can influence your views and opinions and how to think, right? And so the most important stage in a child's life is from the age of 0 to 7. And it is said that in that age, children learn by absorbing information they get fed by the environment that they live in. But also parents play a very important role too in the programming years of a child. So through some reading, I came across this article that I would like to share with you. Now, it is said that there are like 5 of the wave frequencies we go through from from an infant stage to adulthood, and these are the delta, theta, alpha, and beta, right? I said 5, but it's 4. But we will be looking into theta because that's where the magic is. So the article reads, between the ages of 0 to 7 are our programming years. During these years, our children will spend most of their time in alpha and theta brainwave cycles, which is the same state that a person is in when they are in hypnosis or meditation. So you may want to imagine your little children walking around in a permanent state of hypnosis, being programmed by the environment, open to suggestion, in a super learning state, right? And just from that point, it just makes me think about when you like look, like you look into the internet, you realize that there's this movement of where they're trying to teach children that, you know, girls and boys are the same, and a 4-year-old boy who says that he's a girl is a girl, even though their biological sex is saying something different, right? So they can't identify with their own biological sex, right? So now at this age, it seems that, you know, the science confirms that children are programmed by their environment, and they're really open to suggestion, right? Children are very malleable at that age. You can really mold them into anything that you want, and I think that's just the danger, and that's where I guess we can say that those in power and those who are aware of it, they've kind of discovered this weakness, and they're trying to take advantage of that, and so, you know, vulnerable children will be exploited because they don't know better, right? But anyway, I digress. So these are the years when we take on beliefs. The article continues, these are the years when we take on beliefs about ourselves and life, and many of these will remain unconscious throughout the rest of our lives, though they will show up in our behaviors, our achievements, our goals, and how we choose our friends, our life partners, and so on. So it seems that it's a program that basically is operating on a subconscious level. But I remember seeing the stats that, you know, 99% of us are operating, you know, on a subconscious level. So as we go through life, we are operating from that subconscious programming that has been put there from a very young age, right, from 0 to 7, and we think that we are in control of our lives, but really we are just like walking in hypnosis, right? I think that's part of the reason why it's easy to program people, right, and to really even feed them propaganda and to believe in anything, because they've been exposed to this from a very young age, you know, in their environment. And so it's the one that seems that to dictate how we live our life, so our lives. And if you think about it, every belief that you have has been put there or suggested by somebody else. You don't come into this world knowing what religion is. You are taught religion, right? You are taught economics, politics, all these things, right? And so I think it's part of the reason why I believe that it's important for us to, in my humble opinion, that we kind of find ourselves, you know, whatever information that we bump into as we grow, take the positive, throw out whatever that you feel that you don't agree with, right? You don't have to criticize it or disagree with it. Maybe you have the right to disagree with it, but, you know, to kind of enforce your beliefs on someone else, I find it very, you know, suspicious. And I just think that we should, you know, let individuals find their own path, let individuals walk in their own path and find themselves. And look, I go back to the most important statement, right, in human history: know thyself. And I think I'm still on that path of trying to like know myself and really what I think and what I believe in. But you can't help but to think, to even realize that a lot of it is really influenced by what had already been suggested by somebody else from a very young age. And so you're heavily influenced by that, right, by that social programming and subconscious programming that has already took place from 0 to 7, age of 0 to 7. And so we're going to look into this, you know, wave frequency theta. And the article goes on that these wave frequencies measure 4 to 8 cycles per second and are predominant in children aged between 2 and 6. Children operating in theta are very connected to their internal world. They live in the realm of imagination, daydreaming, and still not able to show signs of critical, rational thinking. This is a super learning state where the child is open to suggestion. These children are likely to accept what you tell them is true. People in hypnosis and animals are also in this frequency. So that's where I will end this article. But as we can see, it seems that we are a product of our environment. We are what we think, and what we think is heavily shaped by what we are exposed to. And now, when I spoke about community, we now see we were talking about many small family units within a community, right? A positive environment, or an environment that consists of powerful, positive, constructive, healthy belief system. That's what we're trying to, especially in the Black community. I think most of it is coming from me trying to really like find a solution to it, that you don't have to sit, you can't save the whole people, but that one person around the corner, maybe you can change their perspective and how they look at themselves. And it's important for us to really change, right, our belief system, right? Where if I have a negative belief system, right, it's gonna impact me when I'm older, because now I believe what I think, and because every action comes from a thought, right? It comes from an idea, and which means it's coming from a world of unseen. And so this idea is given power through my frequency, my waves, right? My wave of thought, and it comes into reality based on that, right? The fact that, first of all, it's all happening on a subconscious level, but I'm feeding into it. So the more I think I'm less, the more I think I'm stupid, the more I think I'm worthless, the more I have this low self-esteem, the more it becomes my reality, based on what? Based on the fact that whatever that you think, you become. And so because you think about it, and you start becoming your thoughts and start behaving the same way you think and you say, right? You speak into reality, right? And so it becomes that reality, and so it further glues, or it further strengthens that belief in me thinking that I'm worthless. And man, like I think I kind of really emphasize it a lot, that I think that's one of the also problems that in our Black communities, that as a Black boy, you grow up with that negative self-belief system, right? And you really think you are worthless and you have nothing of value to add. Now, of course, there are exceptions to the rule, but we don't count that, right? We try to look at the majority of, and to look at what's happening and what's taking place in our communities. And I feel that what I'm trying to do is just to lay down the blueprint, right, before we even take actions, is like to really brainstorm this and really highlight the problem, like the problems, and I guess I think once we do that, we can then try to solve it, right? But we can't solve when you don't know what the problem is. And so I think I'm trying to approach it through that way, and just looking from within my own community, my own environment, and to really try to change that, right? To change my own environment and my own thoughts, my own beliefs system, my own belief system about myself, and my view, my image, and not in an egotistic way where I have this false self, where I believe it, I believe in this false self, and I've formed this image that I want people to believe in and to admire, but then I've forgotten about my real self, right? My true self. And so I'm looking for that consistency. But I don't want to ramble on. I just wanted to kind of get into that, just the idea of like the fact that we are heavily influenced by what we learn from just that age, from 0 to 7. And this is before schooling, right? This is before schooling. This is before the programming. This is before they teach you what they want you to learn, right? And I feel that it's very important to highlight that and to become aware of that, because I think it is believed that a lot of parents and families don't know this. But in terms of building a family, building a community, these are very crucial, points to highlight, that we do have a small window, of 7 years of where we can really change a child's view, a human baby, and really, turn him into a hero in his own movie, or we turn him into a villain, where we turn against ourselves, which, things like self-sabotage are things that we'll probably talk about in the future, which is something that I think has always been there in the black community. So I think I'll end it there, and we'll get into it more and more as we try to explore it and get more ideas and thoughts. And of course, like I said, that all these things that we're going to speak about, we're going to start to have conversations with other people and get their opinions and what they think on these topics. So I appreciate you listening. No, I've been rambling a lot, but I feel that this is crucial information. But thank you for tuning in. This is Nell, by the way, and have a lovely day, and